morning. I hope that you all had a good weekend. Perhaps you're off today. I'm not. I'm at school, but just cleaning up my room and getting organized for next year. I so enjoyed reading your discussions this week and your introductions. I think this is going to be a really fun group. And let's see, we've some things that I noticed. We have one sixth grade teacher, and the rest of you appear to be early elementary teachers, K1 and 2 primarily. A lot of special education folks, that's great. And I saw lots of comments about IEPs and RTI this week. And one of you, I think it was Kat, said, and I'm reading her quote, if gifted students were given instruction that required a great amount of time and planning, data collection, evaluating, and readjusting their plans to meet their needs and funding, what might the gains in gifted student achievement be? And that's really a great summary for that first week when we're thinking about all the attention that we spend on our struggling learners, and if only we could spend as much time with some of our kids who already come in strong. They deserve to make at least some yearly progress in every content area, and sometimes they really don't make progress. They are doing what we call seat time. They're just waiting around to be engaged. And in every course, we have people who will say things like, well, let's just use the gifted kids to help the other kids. And I hope that you all understand, I think you do based on your comments, that that's very rarely appropriate or the best situation for gifted kids. Yes, they can be great peer tutors, and in many cases it helps solidify their own understanding of the content if they have to reteach it, but they deserve to have new challenges. They deserve new content. And they need to be with their intellectual peers as much as possible. It's a shame that in many schools we feel like, well, they get pulled out once a week for 3 hours, or they get pulled out 45 minutes 4 days a week. Well, shouldn't they be treated as gifted every day, all day, not just for a few hours? And that's a shame. They can be difficult, and you're going to read about that this week. Gifted kids, just because they're bright, doesn't mean they're easy. Sometimes they are the most difficult, and several of you commented on, maybe you got into gifted education, you're pursuing this because you've got some gifted kids in your classroom and you really aren't sure what to do with them. I've certainly been there, and I'm there every year. Even though I think I know what is best practice when I'm reading and writing about it, actually delivering that is not easy. And we're going to make mistakes, but if we know what our goal is, we're more likely to serve our gifted students well. You will see in this week's module that we're getting ready to start our group discussion facilitation assignments. So starting with week 3, next week, you all have been assigned to 1 week, weeks 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7, and I assigned 3 of you to each week. And each week is divided into 2 groups. You'll see when you open it up, you will either be in group 1 or group 2. So let's say you're in group 1 and you are assigned to facilitate week 3. You will just, each of you, respond. You'll post an initial discussion prompt. You'll send that to me. I will approve it, maybe tweak it a little bit if it needs to be, and I will post that, but it'll be your discussion questions for the week. And then you will, on your assigned week, facilitate the discussion board. And by that I mean each of you will respond to at least 3 peer responses. Now, in the past, what people, they get comfortable doing, and it's easy to do, I'm guilty of it as well, is writing comments to peers like, oh, me too, Kelly, I noticed that too, and isn't it frustrating when kids do that? Well, that's kind of more newsy. That's more appropriate for our discussion board for our introductions. Oh my gosh, I love national parks as well. And that's fun. And I want you to make connections with the people in this class um, and strike up friendships and collaborations. But when you are facilitating one of these group discussions, you want to make sure that you are tying the discussion to the topics of the week, to our readings. So you want to come up with questions that are high-level questions, open-ended, not yes or no questions. And you want to make sure that you're asking students to reference the readings in their responses. So we don't want to have a whole discussion board of just kind of newsy conversations about our many frustrations or challenges in our jobs, unless they're tied to specific things that we're reading about. And so the way to tie it to the readings is to say something like, as Renzulli said, a rising tide lifts all ships. What I like to try to do is teach all of my students as if they were gifted. And that's going to challenge my gifted students, and it's also going to help raise the level of instruction and engagement with even my struggling kids, something like that. If you have questions about that, please write to me, email me, and let me know. But just be careful. In order to earn the maximum points for these discussions, you want to make sure you're tying it to our course readings and our topics for the week and referencing those in your postings. I think that might be it. So I'm learning this, new platform with you. I'm hoping there won't be any problems as I release week 2. But if you notice things that aren't working, links that aren't working, or you're not sure how to navigate, please let me know. It prompts me to better understand this myself. And thank you for your patience as we all figure this out together. Have a great week.